So hello and welcome back to Strathpeffer Junction. Another Strath Shorts video this evening, and today we're going to look at a brand new Lima motor adapter which I've literally just finished designing. Okay, so as many of you remember, last year I designed a 3D printed motor adapter to make the task of converting old Lima Ringfield motors over to CD drive motors a wee bit easier to do. And I released those back in March now, and I've sold quite a few and I've had really good feedback. But one thing that somebody had suggested to me as well, listen David, I've got quite a lot of these old motors sitting about in a drawer. So is there any chance that you could design or make available adapter that we could use with the existing motors that we've got at home? So my answer was yes, but it was a qualified yes. And the reason it was a qualified yes is that I have found that all these motors, even though they're meant to be about 24 millimeters in diameter, they're not always 24 millimeters in diameter. And the way that my adapter works is, well, it needs the fit to be fairly snug just to hold everything in place. And you can use Kapton tape, as I've shown in an earlier video, to pad it out. That works really well. But one of the other issues that I found is that the actual depth isn't always the same either. And sometimes, even though it's meant to be about 12 mil, sometimes it can be 12.5, sometimes it can be a shade under 12. And that meant that sometimes if you seated the motor into the adapter, it wouldn't sit flush at the front, and then it wouldn't be a particularly snug fit. So what I have done is devise an adjustable adapter, which should, fingers crossed, adapt to just about every type of 24 or thereby motors that are out there. So what I'm going to do in this video is just really quickly show you how that adapter works. Okay, so before I jump into fitting a motor into the new adjustable adapter, I just want to have a very quick look at what is different. How is it different to the original one? So I shall bring in the original adapter, and these are still my preferred ones, to be honest. They're more robust, there's less to go wrong with them, so I'm not going to change the design of these, but I think this is probably a welcome addition and enables me, you, whoever to use different types of motor that you might have lying about. So what are the key differences? Well, two really. Firstly, there is a cutout at the top, which there isn't on this one, and that is simply there to allow for the use of motors that don't come pre-wired. So some motors come with wires on them like this, in fact most come like that, and some motors come just with a couple of little tabs there which you can solder to, or you can put on little clips. And previously these weren't compatible with my adapter, but this new one solves that problem. So that was the first difference. The second difference is that this central section here actually lifts out and is a retainer, an adjustable retainer for the motors. And the whole idea behind this is that depending on what thickness of motor you've got, this can adjust up and down and clamp it into place. And there's somewhere in the region of about 10 mil that can be played with there. I'll leave it in the description anyway, the specifics of that, but around a 10 mil difference. Okay, so what does that 10 millimeters mean in practice? Well, here are three motors, and now these are three of the most sort of common size of motor that you're going to find that you can use in a Lima Ringfield motor upgrade or conversion. Now, when I say the most common, this is the absolutely most common. 5.9, 6 volt, 24 mil diameter and 12 mil thickness. There's absolutely piles of these about. Some of them are total rubbish, other ones are a little bit better. Then you've got this one, which is the 10 mil thick motor, which is used primarily in Coco and tender drive conversions, the ones with the third wheel. If you've got a third wheel, you can't fit a 12 volt motor in, sorry, a 12 mil motor in, unless you want a cutaway part at the back. And some people do that. I don't like to do that, because as soon as you cut anything away from magnets, there's a danger of getting iron filings stuck in them. And not my preference, but some people do it and it seems to work fine for them. Anyway, so there's this 10mm one, and this is the only company, or the only version rather. I've never found another 10mm thick one, just this one, and they're retailing for about £15 or something on Amazon just now, which is absolutely ludicrous. And then here we've got a 9mm motor. Again, you can use this in the Coco or tender drive conversions. It's a wee bit cheaper than this one, and it's a mil thinner rather, and the magnets are very slightly smaller, and well, the whole gubbins is slightly smaller. So I've used this a few times and it works absolutely fine, but I don't think it's quite as robust as this, but it's a cheaper option. Anyway, so this adapter can accommodate all three of these different sizes. So what we'll look at now is installing one of these and one of the wired ones, and then once we've done that, we'll hop over and we'll have a look at wiring the one with the tabs. One thing just to mention, actually, just before I forget, these two, the 9mm and the 12mm, they nearly always tend to have pretty much the same diameter. This 10mm, the one in the middle, this one is listed as having the same diameter, but it doesn't. It's probably something like, I don't know, 0.2 or 0.3 of a millimeter smaller, which means that this will rattle about in this generic adapter, unless you put a wrap or two of Kapton tape around it. And I have done a video that shows you how to do that. So if you do have one of these and you've got one of these and you're trying to marry them together, check out my video on the Kapton tape approach. Okay, so first things first, got to take the retainer bar out. So we'll take that out and we'll set it to one side. The only real difference, I guess, well actually not the only real difference, but one difference in the installation is in my original adapters, you seated the motor in that way from the front. And in this particular adapter, it's much easier and much more straightforward, and you get a better fit if you assemble it by sticking it in from the back. So that's the kind of a key thing to remember first. Anyway, I'm going to have a look at doing these two motors just to show you the adjustable bit, but we'll pop this one to the side for now. So the first thing that we want to do anyway is to get the retainer bar. Now this has a little depression in the middle there, which enables it to check with the depression that you get in the bottom of the motor, and all that depression is it's a little bit that holds the bushing in place. So anyway, so we just pop that over the center until it kind of clicks into place and you can't move it, and then that's that retainer bar in place. It's a pretty robust retainer bar, but do be careful, it's not as robust as the full plastic bit. And one thing to mention, if you do ever break any of these adapters, the best thing to stick things back together is plastic weld, EMA plastic weld. And if that's not the name, I'll correct it on the screen below. But I think it's EMA plastic weld. It's the only thing that I've found that is absolutely bomb-proof for gluing these together. Anyway, right, okay, so that is the retainer bar on. The next thing to do is, because this is a wired one, is just to fit the wires through the central hole there. And all that does is it means that they're absolutely out the way and won't get damaged. You can probably, on these ones actually, you can probably poke them out the back if you want, but I like to stick them through there because it keeps it neat. Anyway, so they're in place and the motor is in. Is coming into play. The other thing to mention is that there's little tabs on either side of the retainer bar, and one is bigger than the other, and that's to ensure that you can only fit it one way around. So the correct way around is with the kind of writing facing up to where the wires come out, and then if you've got it that way around, then you'll have absolutely no problems lining it all up. So we've got the retainer bar on there and we've got the wires through, so all we need to do now is just to line up the tabs either side, get them in place, and then we can just push that home like that. And what you want to do is just keep pushing on this side here, push it up, probably with your thumbs like that, just until the motor face is flush with the face of the adapter, which it is. And that is literally it. That's all it takes. Occasionally you'll find if the motor casing is a little bit narrower, that if you try to move it like this, there will be some play. In this one there isn't any play, but if there is a little bit of play, in fact there is a tiny wee bit of play actually, I don't think it'll be a problem for this, but if you've got a good bit of play, just pop it out again, put a single wrap of Kapton tape around it, pop it back in, and it'll be totally in there, nice and snug, and nothing will move. So that is that one done. I'll pop this out and then we'll quickly have a look at the thin one. Okay, so the thinner one, exactly the same as before. We take out the retainer bar. I think what I'll do this time is not bother to feed the wires through, just to show you an alternative approach. And again, just pop the retainer bar over the top until it checks in place over that little round bushing bit. And then we just take it in one hand and with the other hand hold it and line it all up like that. Still, if you're not going to pop the wires through, do just make sure that they don't get caught on anything, particularly with this narrower one. This perhaps wasn't the one to demonstrate no wires on, but anyway, there we go. That's it all lined up. And then we just keep pushing it down like that, keep pushing it until it's flush at the front there. There we go, which it is. So that's that flush along the front there, held in place there with the retainer. This one is totally snug. That doesn't need any capped on tape. And that is now literally ready to stick into your locomotive. Right, okay, so let's move on to the different one, which is the one without wires. Okay, so the motor without wires. There's a number of different types of motor with the tabs on the back, but the most common one are the wired ones. But what's nice about this is that this is a kind of 12 or 13 volt motor, so it's absolutely ideal, this one, for using in your locomotives without needing to use a diode voltage dropper or resistors or anything like that. However, they're very hard to get hold of, and well, there's none available just now on eBay or anywhere else that I can see. But anyway, do keep an eye out. So what we'll have a look at again is exactly the same as before. Take that retainer bar out. This time we don't need to worry about where any wires are being routed unless you've already soldered them on. And actually, one thing I would mention is it might be a good idea to solder them on before you stick anything into the adapter, because one thing that plastic, and particularly this type of plastic, doesn't like is a lot of heat. So if you've got a bit of a shaky hand or you're not very sure when you're soldering, when this is all in place, if you're coming in with a soldering iron, you might melt something. So one thing maybe to think about, solder the wires in first. Okay, but forgetting wires, wires go into my head. What do we need to do? Well, exactly the same as before. We need to pop this retainer bar on. However, this time we need to be selective in how we do it to make sure that it misses those little tabs. So we'll pop it in the middle there. Again, check, yep, it's checked in that round bit there. And we just get to the motor and just like we've done twice before now, line it up. There we go. We'll squeeze that in so it's nice and firm. There we go. And nice and flush around the top. And yeah, this one's nice in place. So that's good to go. Literally all that needs to be done, other than wiring up and reassembling your locomotive. But in terms of this adapter, that is the fitting of the motor into the adapter complete. Okay, so one thing that I just wanted to mention pretty quickly is that I have designed this so that these little pegs on the retainer kind of clamp the motor in place. And in probably 9 out of 10 sort of situations, that works absolutely fine. Once you've inserted it, it holds everything nice and tight, and it doesn't move too much. However, sometimes, again, mainly down to manufacturing tolerances, the little retainer bar here can just be very slightly loose, or here it's not at all, but sometimes it might be looser. The way that I have found, the best way anyway, that I found to sort that out, and it is a permanent fix, I guess, is to put a tiny dab of super glue, as in thick or medium, and a very small amount, you don't need much, on that side. Just pop it out a little bit, tiny bit there, and again there, and then just pop it back in home. And that will completely secure that. It does mean that you'll never get that out again, but if you do have any problems, that is one way to resolve it. The other way you might be able to resolve it, and I haven't tried this, it's just kind of off the top of my head thinking, is that when it's all in place like that, get a hot glue gun and just pop a tiny bit of hot glue over the top. That may itself, again, hold it in place. Be careful with the hot glue gun, the tip of it will melt this plastic. And the other thing I guess you could do as well is maybe even just put a little bit of tape across. That might be enough, that you know, all that's needed. But I've never actually had that problem on one I've installed, but it is something that you may, I guess, come across, depending on what motor you use. Okay, so the final thing I'm going to do is bring in a candidate Lima motor bogie and just install it. And again, it is exactly the same as before. I've not got the gear on this one, so you need to put that on before you do it. But motor in the adapter and then slide it in. I normally find if you pop it in the bottom first, that tends to work best, but just to slide it in there anyway. There we go. make sure that the motor is all in place. I'm going to line it up. And if I had some screws, now is the time to screw them in. The one thing just to mention is don't tighten them too tight. It's not to make this cling on for dear life.
It was at this moment that he knew he f***ed up.
It's literally just to stop it rotating and moving. And if you do clamp them down too tight, there's a tendency that it'll move the shaft out of alignment and you'll get grinding gears. And we don't want grinding gears. So there we have it, my brand new adjustable Lima Ringfield adapter. Yeah, it's something that's taken me quite a few months to perfect, but I'm happy with it now. Seems to work pretty well, and it means that I can use just about any motor on the market in my Limas. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got any comments or queries, please feel free to leave them in the comments section below. If this is your first time to Strathpeffer Junction, please do subscribe if you'd like to, and hit that wee bell icon as well so you don't miss any of my videos. I've got a website as well, www.strathpefferjunction.com, and I post a lot of my tutorials and other bits and pieces on that site. Yeah, that's pretty much everything I've got to say today, so I will leave it there. But all that remains to be said anyway is thanks very much for watching, and cheerio for now. Bye bye.